Hey there, it's Andrea, and welcome to the Voice of Influence podcast. Today, I'm excited to have with me Candice Price. Candice is an entrepreneur. She's involved on the board of a lot of nonprofits, so she's a very passionate person. She's also the executive director of Grow Nebraska Women's Business Center. And Candice, there's just so much I feel like we have to talk about today, so I'm really excited to have you here. Welcome to the Voice of Influence podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. It just feels like an honor. So thank you for asking me.
You are a very passionate person.
Yes, very true. I am about a lot of things.
Yeah. How did you get started? Okay, so we talk about having a voice of influence a lot, obviously. When you were younger, I know you grew up in Florida and then you eventually moved to Nebraska. Do you remember kind of always having just a sense of like, I need to step up. I want to have an impact in the world. I care about things. Like, has that always been the case for you?
Always having the feeling of wanting to step up, yes. As far as it being so deep into I want to have this impact, no, it wasn't really those thoughts as a child. As I got older, it's how do you want to impact people? Because no matter what, I feel like everyone has an impact. The only thing you get to choose is how. Is it going to be negative? Is it going to be positive? Is it going to be lasting? And so those are thoughts that I had later in life. But as a child, yes, always being a part of things or helping move something forward, not really with the deep thought of knowing the why behind it, but just enjoying and having fun doing it. So it's always been just a part of my personality.
Sure. And then do you remember any particular time when it just started to click for you that, there's something important that could happen if I put some meaning behind this impulse to step up?
Well, more so just knowing that everyone can do something. And so one of my teachers in college would always say, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So what is it you're passionate about? What can you do instead of just talking about something? What action can you put behind it? So I'm very action oriented, action driven. What can we do? Not just sit and talk about things that could pretty much be an email. And so I'm always like, okay, well, what's the next step? What are we getting ready to do? And so I've always been like that.
Yeah, let's make it happen. And
Right.
you've made a lot of things happen. So you have three different businesses from what I understand.
Mhm.
Can you tell me a little bit about that process of like why you decided to start businesses and multiple businesses at that?
Sure. So I've always been very driven and just knowing how to hustle, knowing how to get up and go ahead and, like you say, make something happen has always been important. But I've always been driven in the sense of wanting to do something, build something, grow something. I actually got to Nebraska with the railroad. So working in corporate America, working a 9 to 5. And while there, I wanted to be able to do real estate. I wanted to flip houses. HGTV at that time was one of my favorite stations. And so I wanted to do that. I didn't want to just watch it. And so I didn't have the capital and my family didn't have the money to put behind it. And so I said, well, what else can I do? And so while working for the railroad, I figured out, well, you know what I have money for cars. So let's see if I can get a car or two here or there, maybe fix those up and resell them. And so that went very well for me. And that's what put me into liking and enjoying cars, liking and enjoying the people you meet. And that's also what got me into my very first flip that I did in 2010.
Wow. Wow. And the car industry, I think you said that you're one of two women in Nebraska that are licensed dealers.
So for African American women in the state, yes, as far as we're aware, there's two of us that are licensed licensed auto dealers.
That's awesome. And so,
You
like, you're not afraid of doing the thing that is out of the box.
know, it's fun for me. I enjoy it. It's pretty neat getting to meet with new people or figure out what they have going on and those different things.
Sure, sure. Okay, so when it now you're doing this, you're the executive director for Grow Nebraska Women's Business Center. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on there and yeah, kind of
Definitely.
give
So
us
the
an
Grow
idea.
Nebraska Business Center is a WBC under the SBA. So we're powered by the SBA. The majority of our funding comes from the SBA directly, and that's under the Office of Women's Business Ownership. And so the SBA started that program a little over 30 years ago. And last January, so I've been in this role now for a year. Last January, we were part of the grant opportunities that went out to 20 women business centers across the nation, the largest that they've had at one time in their history. And so Omaha has one. And so we're very proud of that. And part of our mission and goal, though it is focused on women because we have the largest number for starting businesses, but we're the least funded. So the last to receive resources. And so though we focus on women, we do help everyone. So, whether it's a uncle or brother or son, send them our way. We're happy to help. Our services are offered for free. And we help you wherever you're at in business. So we always say whether you just have an idea written on the back of a napkin, or if you've been in business 20 years and you're needing to know, well, how do I scale? Or how do I now get government contracting? Or whatever your need may be in order to grow, scale, or get into succession planning, we're here for you. We connect you to resources. We assist with access to capital. We help you talk through your business planning or pulling that down off the shelf, dusting it off, and figuring out what do I need to do next. So we just kind of help along the way wherever we can. We do a lot of partnering. So we partner with SCORE, which is also through the SBA. We partner with the Metro Omaha Women's Business Center. We're now going to be doing a partnership in the month of February with Nebraska Black Women United. We just partnered yesterday with the SBA local district office and NBDC, which is the Nebraska Business Development Center, for a training. And so we just like to make sure we're connected to the people and that we connect the people to the opportunities.
That's a huge contribution to women, to small business owners in general. What made you get involved with this particular organization?
Well, I've been doing different things in the community and honestly had not heard of the organization yet because it didn't exist. And so it wasn't named yet. There wasn't a logo. There was an office space. We hadn't figured any of that out yet. And so I was asked about being involved. I'm so thrilled that I was asked, and being a part of this for the last year to get it established, start its growth has been absolutely amazing. And actually now we're in the midst of a transition. And so I'll actually be transitioning out of this role next month on Valentine's Day. And our person that's in as our client has been our client coordinator, Eden Butler, will roll into my role. And so she'll be the new executive director of the GNWBC.
Okay, very cool. Well, congratulations on your transition.
I'll still be involved. So I'm not going
Yeah.
away. I'll be, helping and consulting and still doing some webinars and making sure I'm available, if or when I'm needed.
Sure, sure. Who should come to you for help? Who would those people be?
Everyone, anyone in business. Truly,
Anyone in business.
let us know. Anyone in business, let us know what you need. You may just simply need more employees. And so you're looking for, those opportunities or resources. You may be at a point where you're saying, hey, I am ready for a brick and mortar and I don't know how to get the funding in place. Or my credit isn't all the way together. How can I start working with someone to rebuild or reestablish so that I can become bankable? Or I was told that I need a new CPA or accountant. How do I go about finding that? What questions do I need to ask? Or I'm just getting started. How do I know if I want an LLC or if I want an S Corp designation or if I want a C Corp, or should I be doing a partnership? Is this the sole proprietor? There's so many questions. And at least if you have a place to go to start to ask those questions, and we can connect you with the experts. So you're going to the source. Or you may be saying, hey, I've been doing a business where I didn't need to pay sales tax, and now we've added on a taxable service or a taxable product. Who do I need to contact or connect with? How does this Department of Revenue work? Or my friend said they pay their taxes monthly, so why am I told to pay quarterly? Whatever your question may be, come to us and we'll help you get figured out. Or it may be, I have this wonderful product. I sell fruitcake and I want to sell my fruitcake in Whole Foods. Well, we connect you to the people who can help you do that. Or I don't have a SKU number and I want to sell on Amazon, or I want to be on Walmart.com. We literally can help you wherever you're at and whatever you're asking.
You work with a lot of different people in a lot of different ways, so different kinds of stakeholders. When you think about how you have been able to have an impact, we know that part of your impact comes with just action. What else would you say helps you have influence in those different relationships?
Well, being vulnerable, being able to relate, When you're wanting to help someone, being able to understand where they're coming from definitely contributes to that. If you're trying to teach someone something or show something, sometimes it's a little bit easier when you've experienced it as opposed to, you know it from a textbook, and that's how you've learned it. And so just being able to relate has definitely been a big part in helping me have an impact or have a voice, or be a person that someone will call on to assist in any capacity. And I enjoy it. It's a passion of mine. I love to be able to help wherever I can, if I can. And I also really appreciate it because everything has come back, it's full circle and everything happens, in turn. So if I need to call on someone or if I need some help, I'm able to do that. And I kind of know who to go to, who I should look to, or who I should ask just from being out and in the midst, and within the community and kind of trying to keep my ear to the ground and know what's going on. It makes things easier for me and my business partner or my family and whatever we're trying to accomplish.
You mentioned listening for others. I'm kind of curious, has there been somebody that has particularly inspired you over the years?
There's been a lot of somebodies. One person I am particularly, who's local, I'm particularly inspired by daily is Carmen Tapio. She has one of the fastest growing companies in America. And they actually have her on a list now for one of the fastest growing companies in the world. It's absolutely amazing where her company has grown in just 4 short years. And so she's someone that, I look to for not only inspiration, but mentorship and guidance, advice, suggestions, being able to have the hard conversations and being able to listen, having a mentor, but then also having a sponsor because you have these individuals who are willing to mention your name in conversations or in rooms that you're not in or invite you to the table and, interested in your thoughts or ideas or where you're looking to go. I just think that's such a huge part, one, of business, but two, of having an impact or having a voice of influence. What are you doing with that voice? Who are you helping? Or one of the best ways I've ever heard it put is, what are you doing to send the elevator back down? So you've made it, or you've made it somewhere, you may only be on the fifth floor, but some people are still on the first floor looking to get to where you are. So what are you doing to help them? And
Mm.
so the people who impact me the most, influence me the most, are the ones that I can look around and see them being intentional about helping and, being impactful with what they're able to do.
Mm. How do you weigh having a family? You have a couple of daughters,
I do.
and caring for them, taking care of them, all those kinds of things, with all of your ambition. Like, there's a disconnect for people, and they don't understand how a woman could have all this ambition and actually act on all this ambition and yet still have a really rich and beautiful family life. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I sure can. It's probably what I can talk about the best and the most. So you just stop me. I'm a single mom. I have two girls. I have a 20-year-old. She just turned 20. She is a sophomore at North Carolina A&T State University, majoring in civil engineering. She's absolutely amazing and phenomenal. And I have a 5-year-old. She's in private school here. She's in kindergarten in Omaha, and she's absolutely amazing. And she's just so smart and loving. But they're both a part of this. They're a part of everything that I do. They're a part of what I do in the community. They're a part of what I do for work. My 5-year-old will ask, can we go to the WBC today? When do we go to the WBC? Or she'll ask, where's the food truck? When's the food truck coming out? And they get on there and they get to be a part of it, and their friends are a part of it. And it's just a part of life. And so, it's normal. Or, she will ask, do you want to go home or you want to come to the shop? I want to go to the shop, and so they're used to it. It's just their life. And so that's how we also make sure that we get our time together. Quality time is not always just sitting down at a dinner table necessarily when you are ambitious or you do have things going on. That's a part of it. Being able to travel and take some trips is a part of it, but also working and growing together and making sure they get to see what you're doing. That helps them to support it and not feel neglected, or not feel left out or pushed to the side or second place when they get to be a part of it. And so, at least for me, that's what's really worked well, is just being inclusive. My friends know, you got to be cautious being my friend because they always say, you never know when you're going to end up on a food truck helping. So I think all of my friends have at this point, all of my family, I absolutely love it and I appreciate them, but I only accept what I'm willing to give. And so I also, will do the same for them and whatever they're needing, whatever they're working on, we just jump in and get dirty together and figure it out.
Do you ever sleep?
A little.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Just checking. No.
I do make plans and time to, sit down and reflect and recharge,
Mm.
reconnect and, It's important. It's important because
Mm,
otherwise your body will let you know when to shut down, or it'll do it for you.
that is absolutely true. So, do you have any particular practices that you do? Things that you really your go-tos for resetting?
I do. I have some new ones. I actually just went on a trip with a group called Steady Trip and Tribe. So really fun name. We went down to Phoenix for a recharge, reconnect weekend. Actually, last weekend, I spent a few days down there. It was 12 of us, and we did a lot of reflecting. We did a lot of just time where you just be still. Listen to your body. What's going on? What do you need to do? Where do you need to either release some things or figure out how to make some changes to some things? What have been some problem areas or sore spots where you maybe have been blaming others, but you should kind of look back at yourself and see where you played a part, what you could have done differently, where you maybe needed to apologize and chose not to, where you let your pride get in the way. And so taking that time, spending time in the morning, if that's what works for you, or the evening, whether it's going through your day, planning for your year, looking out further, figuring out if you could do things over again from whatever point you choose, what would you do differently? Now, once you figure that out, well, what's stopping you from doing that now? And so if you aren't doing it, how do you get started?
When you talk to your daughters about growing up and being a woman in business, what do you tell them?
Well, part of it is a lot of times people are thinking about someone else or what someone else is thinking about them, but what someone else thinks about you is really none of your business. You
Mm,
hear it a lot. So focus on what you're passionate about and just keep going. You happening to be a woman is an asset. It's not anything that you need to try to overcome or make up for or do things differently, or you're in a male dominated industry. That's not anything to hang your head down about. It's something to be proud of. Others are coming after you, others are looking at you and watching you so that they can maybe emulate or figure out, how does she do it? If she's doing it, I can do it too. That's something that is great. It's something to achieve and look for. And so my girls get to see it. They know it often. We're, at mechanic shops or at the auction or doing different things where, we may be the only Black person, we may be the only women. There's a lot of different onlys that come, or very few, or being in rooms where you're with very few. And so that's okay. Keep doing it. Keep going forward. Keep pushing. Keep believing in yourself. Do not let that get you down.
mm,
Let that give you the power to just keep moving. Bring some
that's
others.
there you go. Bring some others.
Mhm.
Yeah, the being the only, that's a tough position to be in, but do you find that the more, it sounded like you're saying keep showing up. Do you
Keep
find that the more you do it and the more you keep showing up, it just sort of you at least become more comfortable, or what do you see?
Well, not only do you become more comfortable, but the people around you become more comfortable, and then they look for you and they're excited to see you and they're welcoming. That's my experience. Everyone's is a little different, but my experience is, as you keep showing it, initially, it may be a little, shock value to it because people are just not used to it. That's all. Most times people don't mean anything by it. They're just not used to, a woman auto dealer or the woman coming in to take care of whatever repair, looking for the parts or knowing what's going on with the vehicle. And so that's just something that they get used to. And so sometimes it's fun to be the first or, help figure it out. And other times they're a whole lot nicer because, you might remind them of their sister or their mom and, they give you a little extra assistance. And so I always appreciate that too. I'm okay with chivalry.
That's fun. That's really fun. All right. So I'm assuming because of the work that you do, the positions that you're in, that you have helped to build teams. Is that an accurate assumption?
Yes, teams, partnerships, team building is important.
Yeah.
Believe in working with others. I think you get a whole lot more done, you know.
Yeah. Do you have thoughts or that you can share with us about, like, if somebody is coming into a new position, there may be a lack of leadership, or maybe it's their own business and they're needing to build a team around them to help move things forward. What are some of the key pieces of wisdom that you would share with them?
Know how to network. Don't do it just because you showed up to the event. When you get someone's card, follow up. let people know what you need, ask people what they need, be of service. It'll get you a long way, because what happens is typically when you're finding out and helping take care of someone else's need, you figure out things for yourself, or you figure out things for another loved one or someone else that's important to you. You get that information in return, or get a connection made in return. And so I just say, network, don't be afraid to step out or go to an event and you don't know anyone. Those are some of the best events to go to. Don't be afraid if you were going with a friend and they back out on you, go anyway. You have no idea who you might meet or what fun you might have, by going and doing that. So those are definite suggestions that I would have.
That's exactly what
That's
happened with
literally what,
us.
yes, that's how we met.
Yeah, we saw each other at an event. We just struck up a conversation, and then I'm like, "What do you do?" And you're like, and you told me, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we need to connect." And we did, and we both made sure that we followed up, and we found ways that we could serve one another and our audiences. And yeah, it's a really powerful thing when we come to those relationships with that kind of desire to be for each other.
That's right. Be for each other. That's a great way to put it. It is. It's amazing. And then I would also just say, be a part of your organizations. And so in your industry, there's typically going to be an organization, whether you do hair care, or if you're in lawn maintenance, or for us, we have the Nebraska Independent Auto Dealers Association, and there's a national association. Be a part of that, not just for the training and knowledge that you receive, but also for the networking that you receive and the friends that you can make that are in business. Everyone, just because they're in the same industry, is not a competitor. That's a pretty tough word sometimes to put on it, but it's a way to share business, share knowledge, maybe save some money, save someone else some money. But also your chamber of commerce, very important to be a part of. Great place and space to network, get your name out, to share what you're doing with others. And of course, also to learn, because there's so many events and activities that happen. And now, because everything is virtual around the world, you can attend a conference that you've always wanted to go to that is in Ghana, or it's in France, and you can sit in your living room, take that time, and attend and meet so many wonderful people. So take advantage of the tools that are at your fingertips. And because of that, now everything is so much cheaper to attend. Sometimes people forget that. Going to a conference before may have cost you $1,500 to $3,000, but now because they offer it for $99 sitting in your house, look how much more access that just gave you. I know a lot of people feel like, but I love being in person, and that's okay. That's wonderful. I do too. But I also love taking advantage, of the other opportunities that this has presented. And one is being a part of a conference that's in California without having to get a flight and take off work.
Absolutely. One of the things that I've been looking at and I've been asking leaders about is the future of work, and kind of how we do work, both um, how we look at in-person versus virtual and that sort of thing. And I understand that, or remote, I understand that there are certainly some industries or some kinds of jobs that just have to be in person.
Mhm.
But that's one of the issues that comes up. And then also, how should we be looking at the way that we are measuring time
Mhm.
or productivity for each other, like for in a company? Like, how do you decide? It used to be you show up to work at 9 and then you leave at 5, and you put your
Right.
40 hours in and that's it, and we check the box. It's different.
It's different.
What are your thoughts when what kind of things have you experienced or seen, or yeah, what are your insights in this area?
I think you can have different measurables depending on your industry. Of course, you can have different measurables, and instead of it being hour based, it could be project based. This is the project that's needed. This is the end goal. Get it done. And it's not. It shouldn't be so much micromanagement as there once was. People are dependable. That is my experience. When given the opportunity, most people choose to be dependable and get things done and do the right thing. And we're finding that people have been more productive working remote. Some of it is simply because they get that opportunity and break that they might need, and know how to measure their own time and know when to take a break and not feel the same pressures that they might feel in the office, or feel like, oh gosh, they're watching me leave right now, but they don't know the important phone call I need to make. Or they know that, well, I have kids at home today because school was just canceled because there was someone infected in their school, and so now my coworker is 5 years old today. And so you have to figure out, well, most of these projects I might need to get done in the evening now tonight, either when my spouse is home, or when they're taking their nap, or once they're in bed, but I'm still going to get the same work done, same quality level, if not greater. Another thing that we're finding though is you're ending up in a lot more meetings because now they're just boom back to back because of Zoom. And
Right. And there's
so
no buffer a lot of times.
there's
Yeah.
no buffer. You're jumping out of one, rolling right into the next. And so, sometimes you got to just be cautious to be able to know when to say, well, not today, or I can't today, or let's push that back a few days, whatever's kind of needed so that you're not overwhelming yourself and that
Yeah.
you can still be positively productive, not just spinning your wheels. And so I think there are so many more opportunities than negatives that have, come from this. We just have to find them.
I appreciate your optimism and energy. And it just strikes me like when you were talking about the idea of networking and not thinking of everybody who's in the same industry as competition. That strikes me as a very feminine, like more frequently you see this in women, for
Okay.
whatever reason, that we're wanting to take care of everybody.
Yes. I mean, it's how you
Right?
take care of yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mhm.
so there's something really powerful about that. And it just strikes me as one of the reasons why it's so important that women are not afraid of or willing to step into business and leadership.
That's right.
Leadership.
Hmm. Leadership.
Because we need to be taking care of one another. And not everything is a competition. And sometimes, sure, there's some competition, but it just really strikes me as something that's really needed
It
in this
is.
time.
And if there's a competition, make it fun, make it a challenge yourself. Don't make it something that's ugly. Don't badmouth the neighbor that's doing the same work. You know what I mean? Like, just
Yeah.
if you see them doing some things that you don't like, then learn from it, okay, and improve it on your end. But, find fun ways that just make being a part of an industry, fun. Get together and, have some talks and figure things out because you're never going to have all of the customers. You're never going to have all of the money. There's so many people out here, and there's so many car dealerships. There's so many Walgreens, CVS, McDonald's, Burger King. There's so many. So stay in your lane, do what you do best, keep your vision and focus. And I just kind of think that's the easiest and best way to do things. And you should be able to call on someone. And when you do things kind of in poor taste, when you do need something, and it could be from what you consider your competitor, you
Mm,
can't call them.
mm.
So, handle things well so that if you need to borrow some sugar, you can call on them.
I love it. Borrow some sugar. Oh, so good. So good. Okay. So, Candice, I've just really enjoyed hearing so much wisdom just like pour out of you. And I appreciate you weighing in on some of these questions that I think a lot of people are asking right now. First, I've got two more questions for you. Can you direct us to where we can learn more about Grow Nebraska's Women's Business Center and your other businesses and your speaking? Like if somebody wanted to come and have you speak, where should they go for all those resources?
Definitely. So for the Grow Nebraska Women's Business Center, our website is www.gnwbc.org. And we are connected to the Grow Nebraska Foundation out of Kearney. And once you're actually a client of ours, we scholarship you so that you can actually be a member of Grow Nebraska for assistance with your marketing or your tech or your branding, your Google mapping, which they're experts at for SEO and your search engine optimization. So there's that avenue. If you're looking to contact me, LinkedIn is going to be your best bet. And so it's just Candice Price on LinkedIn. I'm located in Omaha, Nebraska. You can also find my dealership, which is Home Team Auto Sales out of Omaha. It's just www.hometeamauto.com. We do also ship vehicles. We send vehicles all over the country. So you don't have to be in Omaha to be able to be intentional and purchase from us if that's what you're looking to do for your next automobile. And if you're looking for the food truck for any fun events, Facebook is the best way. We do have a website that we use as well, but Facebook, and that's sapphiregrill.com, is going to be the best for that. And we were in the state fair last year. We were the only Black food vendor at the state fair. We did really, really well. We enjoyed it so much. It was in Grand Island. So it was really my first time spending time in Grand Island. And so hopefully we'll be back again this year, but we do larger events. You can find us at the College World Series, Native Omaha Days. And so just look for us, and we just can't wait to meet you.
Ooh, I'm going to be looking for that. That's a Sapphire Grill, right?
Sapphire Grill, that's
Okay.
right.
I'm so going to be looking for you. And then my last question for you is, what last piece of advice would you give to somebody who would really like to have a voice of influence?
Well, I guess I would say figure out what you're passionate about, one, and maybe start in that area as you continue to grow and get out there in the community. Don't be afraid to give. Spend some time, work on a board, figure out how things operate. Omaha in particular is very heavily based in foundations and foundation work. And so figure out what is this philanthropy work that's being done and how can I be a part of that if that's where you want to have your influence. Or maybe you want to speak on motivating others, or maybe you've had some trials in your life that you've overcome and so you want to impact people with your voice by speaking and engaging and letting them know that they can get past some of these things too. And here's how I did it. So I would say just start, get out there and know that there is a circle of people who believe in you. It's okay if your immediate circle does not see your vision or they don't see it in the same way that you do. Believe me, there is someone else who does and they're waiting for you. So don't be afraid. Get out here and talk, communicate, share. Let somebody know what you want to do so that they can connect you with that avenue and that resource.
Thank you so much, Candice. It was so good to hear you, and thank you for being a voice of influence today for our listeners.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that. And I'm excited to meet with you again next week.
Yes, yes, I'm doing a couple of webinars for the Women's Business Center,
That's
so I'm
right.
excited for that too. Yeah, awesome. All right, we'll see you soon.
Wonderful. See you. Thank you.